Uh, but what we do have is a texture that is almost ready for production and everything. So you take that out. Now here's the texture. Here's the other model copy of this, which still has the proper UV map, which is designed for a square thingy. Alright, so now might gotta make sure this is in... Okay, you should always make sure that your model is in XYZ0. Alright, now these are in the same place. Okay, now what you do is you should have your model with the proper UV selected. So for this, for me, it's chest body UV. Okay, now you go to rendering and you go to render to texture. Alright, important note to the artists. Since this method actually stretches and pulls the texture and all that, the resolution of the texture should be at least twice of the resolution that you're going to be using in the game. So if your texture is 512 by 512, then the texture that you should be working with should be 1024 by 1024. So basically just use high resolution textures, even if they're not going to be that high res in the game, because otherwise you might lose detail that you might not want to. So, okay, so here we are in this. And, okay, first of all, depending on the size, you should enable padding. And this should be about 4 pixels for a 1024 by 1024 texture. But I'm going to do it 512 by 512, so 2 pixels is okay. This is for when mip-maps. You know, there's this really ugly artifact that appears when mip-maps are cheating. Alright, here you should choose Diffuse map. Okay, so you click here, under output, you click add, and oh my god, that was a terrible accent, and you here click Diffuse map, click add elements. Alright, size, now I'm gonna pick 512 by 512. This is gonna be the final texture size. Again, should be larger, even though this is the final texture, it should be larger than what's gonna be in the final game. Okay, this is where you'll save it. So I'm gonna save this in images, or I'm just gonna save it on my RAM disk. This as chest body diffuse projected targa, and of course you should use targa, and target map slot diffuse color, and under projection mapping here you click enabled, pick, and from the list that appears you should pick the chest that you projected the textures on earlier. Now you click add, and now it'll have a little cage selected. Now you also notice that it added a modifier, a projection modifier here. Now just for safety's case, you should click on the cage category here and you click reset, just in case, and then you push this amount value out, so that way make sure the cage covers everything and that the cage doesn't intersect with the actual model. Of course, this should be as small as possible without intersecting with the model, because the larger the cage, the more imprecise the projection is. So once that's done, you should go to options and make sure ray mist check is checked, and also go to setup here, and under common go down to assign render and make sure this is default scanline renderer. Okay, and once you've done that, okay, you should be able to click render, and here it is. It baked your texture into the UV. Now you see there are no red dots at all, so this means that the cage is not intersecting. If there are red dots, you should reset the cage, and then increase the amount. Don't increase the amount like this, because then it's gonna really deform the cage into some ugly fuck. So every time just reset and just set it to a higher amount by default. Alright, so let's re-render that again, make sure there are no. Okay, now sometimes you will see there are these ugly snowflakes on the texture. Now the way you fix that is you go to options and you go here, global super sampler. Now you see it's none. You click setup, and here under global super sampling you click enable global super sampler, and yeah, and that should in most cases it should get rid of most of those snowy things. So click render again, overwrite. So there you go. They're still there, but they're a lot more marginalized. I am actually not sure how to fix that. I think you can increase the amount of super sampling somewhere. Okay, so here maybe you click Hammersley, quality 1. I'm not really familiar with these. But basically you should not turn super sampling on unless you experience these snowflakes. Okay, so this pretty much marginalized all that. So, and here you have your final texture on there. It's the same texture as before, except it's with a proper UV. And you know, maybe I want to have a higher resolution later, but okay. So the beauty of this is that, okay, look at these. Okay, on the left is the one with the shitty UV, and on the right looks almost completely exactly the same, except it has a proper UV map and a proper texture that is a power of 2, and it's a square. But they look almost exactly the same, the two of these. Almost exactly the same. Okay, and the beauty of this, if you ever want to, you know, okay, maybe I, you know, don't like this UV, okay, maybe I want this to be here and like something, you know, like this. I want these two to be exchanged. Basically, I couldn't like do anything else, so maybe these two should be here, and you know, maybe these two should be facing like this. I'm just trying to fuck up the UV as much as I can right now. Okay, so maybe I like this UV better. Alright? Collapse 2. Alright, I have my good, better UV, but as you can see, I fucked up the texture, so oh no, now I have to go to the artist and tell them to draw me a new texture. So this is going to be incredibly tedious, but oh wait, I already have a texture right here, so I can just put this guy back in the same position. Make sure they're in the exact same position, by the way. Okay, now just go again to rendering and render, hold on, render to texture, click render, override, and just wait until it goes down. As you can see, it already adapted to my new UV, and that's it. And now my texture is fixed again, and I have my new UV on here still. So the artist didn't need to do a thing, and also you can like twist and deform this model as much as you want, because you can always just project it again from this model, and you know, the deformations and everything, they're already all done by the program. So there you have it. So again, on the left is the original, and on the right is the projected texture. You can't see really much of a difference, I think. But of course, the one on the right is still going to have those seams that this model has. So of course, you can then just take this texture and just once the model is final and the UV is final, you can just take this and just send it back to the artist for just some final corrections. So you can see his padding is, I didn't really explain what that is, but you should set that to at least 4. But it's just basically the texture extending beyond the UV island, and that's going to help prevent some really bad artifacting. So yeah, that's it for the tutorial. I hope I was understandable enough, and I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that this is going to ease up the workflow. So again, on the left, good textures but shitty UV. On the right, almost the same textures, just some very minimal quality loss, and you have a great UV that uses space efficiently, and you can change the UV anytime, and you could just reproject it. Alright, so yeah, thanks for watching.